welcome to the Intuitively Wild podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Levine. Living intuitively wild is about coming back home to ourselves. Here, we talk about how to live connected to ourselves, others, and nature, and make a commitment to radical authenticity, vulnerability, and acceptance. On this podcast, we delve into a wide range of topics that span the human experience. We peel back the layers and talk about the things that are often not talked about. This is a space for us all to walk and wander this path of life together. Let's dig into our roots and go deep. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. And welcome to our episode of the month where we choose a moment in the year, whether it's a moment on the wheel of the year or a moon phase or just a moment in time that we really want to acknowledge, that we create a ceremony and rituals around. And this one is extra special because it is about the summer solstice. And the summer solstice is an extra powerful, exciting time to create a ceremony for because it's a very energizing, activating, outward moment in time. And so we can really use that energy to be out in the world and connect with nature and connect with community and connect with ourselves and create this really beautiful ceremony and to embody these practices. While other moments in time are more inward and quiet and reflective, this one is that and holds that energy. We'll get into that. But even more so, it's about being in the world and embodying what we want to create and going out and doing it. And I'm very excited to talk about this and to go into this episode because there are a couple key things that I want to touch on for us, not only for this specific ceremony for the summer solstice, but also for us to tap into for all of summer, for this whole season. And so the summer solstice is this moment in time where the day is the longest. And specifically this year, summer solstice is June 20th. And it can also be known as Litha or midsummer. And for most of us in the Northern Hemisphere, at least, this means the peak of summertime and summer energy. So this means long days that extend out into the night, outdoors adventures, action, activity, the feeling of the earth being alive underneath our feet, just the sounds of summer, even thinking about it stirs up the energy within me. And for years and years, the summer solstice has been revered and celebrated and ritualized. It's a time for us to honor nature at her peak, to give her the attention and devotion she deserves while she shows off in all her bright glory and never-ending light. To celebrate the summer solstice is to write a love letter to the sun. And the summer solstice also marks a turning point because although it's the longest day of the year, that also means that every day afterwards starts to become shorter and darker, and we start edging closer and closer to the darkness of winter once again. And so it's this reminder to really be present and to suck up all the juiciness and joy that we can out of this point in the spiral of life because it will pass. And yet it is here now. And so many of us look forward to summer the whole year and look towards the sun when we are in that winter darkness. And so now it is the time for us to celebrate. And so having these moments in time where we create ceremony and ritual for these points of the year allows us to be really present with them and to suck all the life and joy and juiciness out of them. And so that's what I hope that this episode inspires you to do. And we're going to go step by step through a ceremony that you can do yourself on the summer solstice, but I won't go into every single detail of that because that will also be written out on the Substack for the summer solstice, and there are other aspects that I want to go into as well. But the idea with this ceremony is to do it on the summer solstice to really honor and embrace and embody that energy and to channel that energy and to see what comes from that. And then from there, we will talk about how to take this ceremony and bring rituals into your everyday life for the rest of the summer, or to create other ceremonies in the summertime to help you integrate and embody this process. And when I say integrate and embody. I mean that these ceremonies allow us to tune into who we want to be and what we want to create. And then we reflect, and the work is still moving through us even when the ceremony is over, and we don't always know what will come of it or what we'll want to create from that, or who will become from that, or the reflections and the processing that will come from that. And so to integrate it means that we want to give it space to become us and be woven into the fabric of who we are. So it's not like it's one and done. It's really allowing. The ceremony is supposed to let things unfold within you. It's supposed to allow you to connect deeper to yourself and your desires, and then to take action towards them is that embodiment, and to really embody your values. And these ceremonies help you do that. So to begin our ceremony, I recommend doing this on or around the day of the summer solstice, so June 20th. And you don't have to be perfectionistic or rigid with this. You can kind of tune into your energy and when you feel called to do it, and also your schedule and your life. But there is something specific about the energy of that time and how it can help you tune into the messages that you need to receive right now, and the energy of nature and what she wants to bring to you during that specific summer solstice point. And I always begin my ceremony by grounding. So just planting my feet on the earth, placing a hand on my heart, grounding my energy, setting my intention to be really present with this ceremony and to be open to what comes to me. And I open the space. I've gone into how I do that in other episodes and on my YouTube. So I recommend going to my YouTube channel, and I'll link that episode below. But I open the space and then I set up my altar. And so our suggestions for our altar items for the summer solstice are all really about connecting to nature. And for me, so much of these ceremonies and the altar items specifically always are, but for the summer solstice specifically, because summer is when nature is fully alive and really loud and speaking to us in echoes and vibrations, and really wanting to be heard and seen and noticed and honored and celebrated. And so bringing nature into our ceremony in this way with physical, tangible items allows us to do so. I do want to say that anytime you're taking something from nature, you want to ask permission. And this can be as simple as, again, pausing, placing a hand on your heart and saying, is it okay to pick this flower? Do I have permission to pick this flower? And just feeling into your body if there's any resistance or ease there. Does it feel okay to do so, or does it feel like there's some kind of tension there? And it can be very subtle, and that might feel a little esoteric and woo-woo, but I promise you, if you just tune in and take that little pause moment, you will feel something. And then if you're feeling called, I also always give something in return. So a little thank you and gratitude, and place something on the altar of nature as a thank you for letting me take something from it. So for me, I just take a single strand of my hair usually and either tie it on a piece of twine or the flower that I picked, or just on the earth. That's usually what I will do. If I have something else or feel called to something else, I might do that as well. But you always want to make sure it's something that is biodegradable, so you're not littering or leaving something in nature that could harm it. So want to give that little caveat. And for our altar items, I always want to have all 5 elements acknowledged. So for air, I would think about something creative. So summer is the time for inspiration in motion. And yet we want to be really discerning with what action we take and ideas we invest in, so that we don't burn ourselves out, and so that we know we are using our energy with intention, and not just because we are caught up in the fiery energy of summer. You want to tune into what you feel inspired to do and create this summer season, and let that guide you for something that you want to place on your altar. So whether that is something that you painted, or that a project that you plan on birthing in summer that you're working on. It can be a poem you wrote or something that symbolizes something you're starting. Maybe as part of your ceremony, you sit down and create a piece of art and then place it on your altar. I just encourage you to get creative and intuitive here and lean into where your excitement and energy takes you. But for our air altar item, of course, I always have incense, and that smoke and that air is enough. But I do suggest maybe putting something to honor your creative energy or your creative spark or your ideas that you are tuning into. And then for fire, summer solstice is the ultimate fire holiday. And so any way you can bring fire into your altar is encouraged. And there's long been traditions of bonfires and jumping over burning logs and communing around fires that people have created and ceremonialized and ritualized as part of their summer solstice ceremonies. So that is also a way to honor tradition and maybe our ancestors and lineages. And even, of course, just one simple single candle is enough. But maybe doing this whole ceremony around a bonfire or making a candle and burning it during your summer solstice that could combine both your air and fire elements. Just finding ways to incorporate fire in any way that you can in your summer solstice ceremony. And then earth. We definitely want a lot of earth element in our altar because it will ground us and keep us rooted even throughout the fire and the action and the craziness of summer. And summer is really the time to soak up earth energy and just nature in general. So my recommendation is to go into your favorite place in nature and pick something from there that feels meaningful to you. And then place that piece on your altar while speaking your intentions or desires into it. So for example, perhaps you have a favorite park and there's this really beautiful flower bush there, and you ask for permission and maybe leave a little single strand of your hair and pick a flower and speak your intention to it, really infuse the energy of your intention into it, and then place it on your altar. So that can be something that's really powerful. And then I love doing this because often I will pick a flower that I think will dry really well. And so I have flowers that I've picked from beautiful places in nature that then dry and I can keep them. And they hold my intention, and I'm reminded of my intention throughout different moments of the year in these beautiful flowers that were in full bloom and are now really beautifully dried and still hold the energy of my intentions and desires. And then water. So similarly to our earth altar item, I encourage you to go to your favorite body of water that is accessible to you and collect some water in a jar. And when you do, speak your intentions into the water and leave them out on your altar for the whole summer season. And then either at the end of your ceremony or at the end of summer, you can drink the water and remember your intentions. Of course, if the water is safe to do so. If not, you can perhaps pour it on your body and cleanse your body in a ritual way, or pour it back into the earth and reconnect to your intentions in that way. And then our spirit item. So summertime is about connecting to our vitality, abundance, fertility, creativity, and gratitude for being alive. And we can honor spirit in other realms by leaving out offerings that express our gratitude for this time. So perhaps that means writing a letter to them or leaving out some food for them or connecting in some other way with them. Some examples of our goddesses of fertility or the sun. I like to leave out offerings for the fae folk, also known as fairies, but they don't really like to be called that, such as dried flowers or fresh flowers or whatever else intuitively calls to me. And I just see what comes to me with this element. If you have ancestral lineage that has a culture of celebrating the summer solstice in some way or another, you can kind of write to them or channel that energy or honor them by doing something from your lineage, something from your ancestors or a tradition. your religion that has been practiced for the summer solstice. But again, it depends on how you connect with the spirit realm, how you connect with your ancestors, with your religion, with tradition and your culture, and with your spirituality. So that will look different for everyone. So I really want to give you free rein to kind of tune into what sort of spirit is calling to you. And if you don't know, you can always write a letter and say, what does spirit want me to hear or know, or how can I connect to spirit right now? And just stream of consciousness, see what comes. And even just that letter, placing it on the altar is enough. And that's beautiful. That's perfect. Often that's all I do. And it's a really, really powerful practice. So those are our altar items. And once I have done those, and even picking out those, putting that together, are rituals that you can do throughout leading up to the summer solstice and can be ceremonies in of itself. So it's really about how you want to do this. Just putting together the altar and going out and going into nature and getting the altar items. Each one of those can be its own ceremony. Each one of those can be a ritual, and then putting it all together can be its own ceremony. It's really about how much you want to pour into this, what feels good for you, what you have the time for, and how extensive you want to do it all, what your intention is. But once I've set my altar items, I then grab my herbal companions. I will often do this while I'm setting up my altar, or when I'm arriving to my ceremony, I already have my herbal companions ready, and often I will do them in herbal infusion form, so in tea form, a drink form. And I will drink this throughout my ceremony, and then I will use these same herbal companions throughout the summer to continue to connect to their energy and really channel the messages that they want me to receive. Because I think it's really powerful to choose specific herbs to use for an extended period of time to see if there's a specific message you're needing from them, or healing you're needing from them, medicine you're needing for them. Often if you're feeling called to a specific plant, there's medicine for you there. And using it for an extended period of time can help you reap those benefits even more powerfully. But mostly it's about tuning into your intuition and seeing if you can connect to it, what plants want you to connect with them right now, and for how long. And if you're not getting any intuitive messaging around that, then I will give you some suggestions. And I also suggest using them for the whole summer season, at least once a week, maybe every day. And you can continue to tap in and see how that feels for you. The more that you take those moments to check in and pause and see how it feels. And for example, let's say I give you these 4 herbal companion suggestions, and for some reason you're like, I don't want to use one of those, or I don't know how to get one of those, and you feel like frustration pop up around trying to get it and find it, then that's a sign that you don't want to use it, or your intuition's telling you it's no for you. Or if your intention is to drink this infusion every day, but one day you wake up and you just feel you don't want to do it, you feel resistance to it, maybe that's a moment to check in and pause. Maybe don't do it that day and see how that felt. Was there resistance because your intuition's saying no, or was there resistance for some other reason? And it's just having these little conversations with ourselves to kind of sort through and deepen these connections with our intuition. So my suggestion is to use these 4 herbal companions and I use them in a herbal infusion form every day, a drink form every day. And it's one of my favorite combinations, honestly. And I won't go into all the details of them. If you want the why and the impact and some more details about these herbs and why I chose them, then I would head to the Substack. But for our summer solstice ceremony and for our summer rituals, I recommend milky oats, mugwort, turmeric, and chamomile. And I really believe, I promise you, that if you drink this herbal infusion every single day, you will feel the benefits, especially if you make it a ritual for yourself and really sit down and be present with at least a few sips instead of rushing all over the place. You also can infuse it overnight and put it in the fridge, so it's kind of like an iced tea and it's ready for you to just sip on throughout the day. These herbs also can be taken every day, and you don't have to worry about any negative impacts. And if you want any support sourcing these herbs, if you need any suggestions on how to make them or how to utilize them for yourself, if you want someone to make this tea for you, reach out because I can help you with all of that. And of course, always follow your intuition and see what feels good for you. You can also take these in a tincture form. You can find them in a body oil, in a candle, whatever you want to do. Okay, our yoga therapy tools. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail. The step-by-step for all of these with instructions will be in the Substack. But once I have set my altar and I have taken a moment to make my herbal infusion and sipped it, our intentions are set. I will then go outside, if I'm not already outside, and do my yoga therapy techniques. And my first suggestion for our summer solstice ceremony are sun salutations. And I mean, this is how we honor the sun. This is how yogis have been honoring and saying thank you to the sun for years and years and years and years. Some people even do 108 sun salutations on the summer solstice. You don't have to do a specific number. You can even do 3. You can choose a number that you love, like 13, my lucky number. You can do 1. You can do any variation of a sun salutation. It doesn't have to be the traditional way that it has been done. You can do it on your knees. You can do it standing up, rooted with your feet staying rooted to the earth the whole time. Whatever modification or variation feels good for you, I would tune into that. But I do suggest doing some sun salutations, perhaps while the sun is rising or setting, or peak midday, or just when you're taking a moment to bask in the sun. Whenever you're doing this ceremony, doing some sun salutations is so powerful. And you can also do it just throughout summertime when you're taking, again, a moment to be grateful for the sun, or you're sunbathing and you really just want to thank the sun, or you're feeling the sun on your skin, standing up, doing a modified sun salutation, just really channeling the energy of the sun, drawing it to you, bowing your knees to it in gratitude. That's a really beautiful way to bring ritual into your everyday life. And then I go into a sacral or third eye meditation. If you want the details on that, you can head to the Substack. But I keep it very simple, and I think that simplicity is key, especially if you are new to tapping into your chakras or meditating. But after you've done your sun salutations, I would find a sunny spot where you can sit down, perhaps on the earth, but somewhere where you can feel rooted and grounded and stable. And tune into, I suggest either your sacral chakra or your third eye. So depending on what you're feeling more called to, perhaps you intuitively feel called to one chakra more than the other, or if you need more guidance, I would tune into the third eye if you're trying to connect more to spirits and messages and intuitive guidance, and then perhaps tune in more to the sacral chakra if you're trying to connect to that fiery energy, creative energy, that fertility and vitality energy. And all you're going to do is find yourself rooted and grounded and pour your focus, your presence, your energy towards one of those 2 chakras. And just take some breaths here. Just start to deepen your breath and then set the intention to receive the energy or guidance that you are needing. So you can say out loud or to yourself, I'm open to receiving the messages I need to hear. Or if you specifically are tuning into your sacral chakra, for example, to channel your creative energy, you could say, I'm connected to my creative energy. And just focus on that intention and your breath for at least 5 minutes. And just sit there and see what comes. Just sit there and see what comes. And if nothing comes, that's fine. There's no expectations, there's no pressure, there's no judgments. Often, if this is the first time you're doing this, nothing will come. But after this, I would then grab your journal or a piece of paper and write at the top the messages I received are, and then stream of consciousness, right? and you might notice that things come up then. Or you can just write down what you received if you are aware of things that you connected to. And then keeping our journal out, we move into our reflection questions. Again, these are outlined in the Substack, but some reflections for you to sit with for the summer solstice ceremony. What is your creative energy feeling like? What part of yourself do you feel most connected to? What are you feeling inspired about right now? Which parts of your life feel abundant and alive? Which parts of your life feel disconnected and disused? Where in your life does it feel good to pour your energy? Where in your life do you want to preserve and protect your energy? How do you want to feel for the rest of the summer? So those are the questions that I want you to sit with as part of your ceremony. And then from those, you move into creating your intentions for the rest of the summer. And this summer, I want all of us to let ourselves be our full, most lit up and alive selves. I know that a lot of us have schedule changes and we feel like we have limited capacity, or we get overwhelmed, or we have all this energy going on. And whether or not that's true for you, I want us to freely give into our summertime dreams. The summer solstice presents us with a time to channel who we want to be and the life we want to live. And so let yourself lean into it. Conducting this ceremony and infusing your life with rituals like these allows you to sprinkle this energy into your everyday life, no matter what. So let what this ceremony sparks within you, or whatever of these rituals you pick and choose to do, let them then guide you to actions you are going to take for the rest of summer. Which leads me into the next part of this podcast that I want to go into, which is how to create the most whole and alive and full, juicy, joyous summer that we possibly can. And if you've been around here long enough, you know that I'm all about seasonal living. And a big reason that is because for so long, I pedestalized summer and I only tried to be a summer seasonal person. No other season was allowed, only summer. And this was because I thought the summertime version of me was the only one that was good enough. The one that was always moving and producing and taking action and doing was the only version of me that was okay. And then I had to go through a phase of deep healing and going into an inner and outer winter and learning about all the seasons and embracing all the seasons. And that has really balanced me out and honestly has made me even more grateful and connected to summer because I understand the impermanence of it. And I can really be with it in all of its glory versus letting it just burn me out and abuse me. Letting myself use summer as a kind of self-harm. Because the summertime version of myself I was latching onto so much was the constructed, controlled summertime version of me. Again, the version of me that was productive and always doing and moving and action-oriented, and not the summertime version of me of my childhood. Not the real reason I fell in love with summer. The version of me that was barefoot and chasing fairies and catching fireflies and at outdoor concerts and dancing in the wind and watching movies during summertime thunderstorms and at sleepaway camp for 2 months every summer. No, that version of me got pushed under the rug and instead was traded out for the version of me that needed to always be productive and successful, quote unquote. And so this summer, I am returning back to the purity of why I love summer, the purity of summertime Rachel. And this has felt like a deep inner child healing for me to the truest degree that I could ever say, because I do have traumatic experiences from summertime and that I now associate with summertime. And so I started to notice myself feeling a lot of anxiety around summer. And not only because of past experiences, but also because of why this summer is different. Because also for the past few summers, I've always not only been moving and doing, but also truly moving, like traveling or moving someplace new, always on the go, unrooted, independent, kind of doing my own thing. And this summer, I'm rooting down even more. I'm committing to being here. I'm opening my physical space. I'm hosting events. I'm really connecting with community. And that is my main intention. And that is different for me. That's something new and it's terrifying. And I don't want to get caught up in what I usually get caught up in the summer. I want to connect to the soft, steady, fully alive summer version of me. And so through my own rituals and intention setting and reflecting, I've created a summer success list. Because I think a lot of us think that we always need to be doing more. And I have this main narrative always kind of running the show of I'm not doing enough, and needing to be doing more and more and more. And so then I fill in my empty space with more doing. And I don't want to do that. That's not what this summer is about. And so my summer success list is about the top priorities that I need to do this summer and nothing else. And the only things that I want to focus on this summer. And so they include my main projects and to-dos for work. And then after that, they include the road trips I'm taking and my other summertime plans. And then after that, they include reading and writing and sunbathing and just random spontaneous summertime adventures. And my intention with creating this summertime success list is that whenever I do have a moment of empty space, I'm only filling it with something from this summertime success list. I'm not trying to think about other ways to be productive. I'm not trying to fill the empty space with things that just feel like they're moving me forward, but it's really just putting me on this burnout treadmill. I'm intentionally choosing something that I want to prioritize this summer, whether that is recording a podcast or preparing for an event or making products, or whether that's reading, or whether that's planning a road trip, or whether that's going on a hike. Whatever it is, I'm only taking from that summertime success list. I'm tuning into my intuition and I'm choosing with intention and intuition and honesty about what I need and what I truly want to do in that moment, and not prioritizing work over play. I'm embodying work and play in all that I do. Really, that is my life. That is what I do. And so doing things with that intention versus just the intention of checking things off my to-do list or proving my worth to myself. No. So I encourage you to tune into what your summertime inner child needs this summer. What could be the most joyful, full, whole, healed version of you to tune into this summer? And 2, what does your summertime success list consist of when you take that into account? And so if you'd like, you can create a ceremony around this, or a little ritual, or add this to your summer solstice ceremony where you reconnect with your childhood summertime self. So in your journal, start to describe this version of yourself. You can stream of consciousness journal or use some questions to guide you, such as, who were you in the summertime of your youth? How did you spend your summers? How did you feel? How do you want to feel this summer? What needs to be healed from summers past? What needs to be embraced? And this is in a separate Substack that I will also link below. But for some of us, there's only joy there. And for some of us, there's real grief and trauma and healing to be had. So perhaps you feel the need to write a letter to your past summertime self or your future summertime self. And this is maybe an apology or a promise, a reclamation, a releasing, whatever this looks like for you. And then list out all of your favorite activities, the places, foods, activities, smells, people, songs, movies, books that really brought you such unbridled, unfiltered joy when you were younger, or that you always dreamed of doing in the summertime. And then start to envision and plan how you can incorporate as many of those things into your life this summer and let that guide your summertime success list. So perhaps you vision board it, schedule it in, talk about it, list it out, write a promise to yourself, and really take the time to gain clarity and commit to what your summertime success list is. And let it be healing. Let it be healing. One thing on my summertime success list is I'm taking a road trip to Maine and visiting the sleepaway camp that I went to my entire childhood and haven't been back to since 2013. And 2013, I was a CIT, and it was honestly a very challenging summer for me and brought a lot of trauma. And that's one reason I haven't been back since. And so I'm taking a little healing pilgrimage for the first time when I think about going back to that sleepaway camp that I spent my entire childhood at. I feel excitement and just, I feel this, like, I can't explain, like, I'm so drawn there. I'm like, I need to be there right now. And up until this moment, I did not feel that. I felt a lot of anxiety and mixed feelings and some panic and grief and fear. And I wasn't ready yet. And this summer I feel ready. And so something on my summertime success list is this healing pilgrimage. And perhaps there's something along those lines that inspires you. And so I'm going to leave that there. But we went into that step-by-step ceremony for the summer solstice. We went into connecting to your inner child and really understanding what you need and want for this summer and setting those intentions. And then creating your summertime success list of your priorities for this summer. And this summertime success list is going to come from all that is revealed to you in your ceremonies and in your rituals, in your intention setting and your reflecting. That's going to allow you to create your action steps for the rest of the summer, how you are going to embody and integrate. This is where this integration process happens, by taking all that you are learning through your ceremonies and your rituals and creating the summertime success list and allowing that to guide your summer. And everything that I listed here, again, in the ceremony or the ritual, can be something that you take the time to create into one big ceremony on the summer solstice or any day that you feel called to. And then you can take the pieces and bits of these ceremonies and ritualize them into your everyday life. Start to weave them into your everyday life. So whether that's coming back to your altar every day or creating new altars every week, or sitting with your herbs every day, or doing these journaling prompts at different times, however that looks for you. But we want to take whatever rituals perhaps that we talked about or that this has inspired you to connect with and weave them into your summer as often as possible so that your summer is really intentional. And this will allow you to be fully present with it. This will allow you to suck all the joy and juice and fullness out of it because you are being intentional and being really present and not letting it just pass you by, not just getting swept up in the chaos, and allowing yourself to take the time to pause and ground and be with this moment. And that's why ritual and ceremony is so powerful. And I really hope that this inspires you to slow down in order to be able to do and be all you want this summer. Okay. I would love to hear how this landed for you, how this felt for you. I would love to hear if there's part of these ritual episodes that you feel more called to, if you want me to go into the step-by-steps more, if you want me to go into the details more, if you like having it all just kind of hear how it is, if you want the stories more, my own experiences more. Feel free to give your feedback. And also, if you are in the New York Hudson Valley area or have access to getting here, I am hosting an in-person ceremony with my dear friend Hollis, who was on the podcast last week, We are hosting a ceremony for the summer solstice and Cancer new moon on June 25th. So if you want to come into ceremony together, I really hope that you will join us. It's going to be a really, 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 really beautiful, special, powerful, magical moment to ceremonialize. And I would just love to see you there. If you have any questions, please reach out about any of this. And I will see you all next time for more magic. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I hope it helped deepen your connection to yourself, sparked some insights, and inspired you to live intuitively wild. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would share it with others and leave a rating and review. And please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. I will see you next time for more magic.